To live joyfully is to live as one's own. This simple truth stands at the centre of the egoist worldview, which insists that the individual is neither a servant of abstract ideals nor a sacrifice to collective demands. Life, in this view, can unfold as an open field in which each person discovers, shapes, and delights in their own power. The joy of living is nothing handed down by authority, morality, or tradition. It is created through the individual's conscious assertion of selfhood. Egoism begins with the central declaration that you are the owner of your life, not metaphorically, not conditionally, but fully and unapologetically. The moment we abandon the myths of duty, duty to the state, to fixed moral laws, to rigid social roles, for example, our days cease to be obligations and become opportunities. The egoist does not live for an ought, but for a can. Each moment becomes a chance to explore personal desires, curiosities, and capabilities without the weight of predetermined purpose. Joy emerges as the natural companion of such liberation. This joy is not necessarily hedonism in its shallow caricature. It can be deeper than simple pleasure seeking, rooted in the exhilarating experience of creativity and self creation. When one rejects imposed identities, life can become a space of continual becoming. The egoist delights in this fluidity, recognizing that the self is not static but ever evolving. The freedom to redefine oneself, to shed limiting narratives, can generate a vitality that no external system could ever provide. In daily life, this can manifest as an active refusal to be dominated either by authorities or by self-imposed spooks such as guilt, duty, or fear of disapproval. The egoist does not deny cooperation, instead they embrace it on their own terms. Relationships, friendships, and communities become sources of joy precisely because they are entered voluntarily, maintained through genuine mutual benefit. The union of egoists, as it is sometimes called, is a living example of how connection thrives when freed from mandatory loyalty. Joy in this context is the result of chosen companionship, not any kind of enforced belonging. The joy of living in an egoist sense arises from the recognition that meaning is not discovered but invented. Freed from the pressure to conform to inherited frameworks such as national, religious, or moralistic, for example, the individual can gain the creative authority to craft their own way. This self-authorship can turn even the simplest acts into expressions of autonomy, if possible, choosing how to work, how to love, how to rest, how to speak, how to imagine the future. When life is self-directed, even struggle can become meaningful because it is undertaken for one's own aims rather than for the maintenance of someone else's power. Ultimately, the egoist finds joy not necessarily in rebellion, but in the serenity of self-possession. The world can cease to be a battlefield of obligations and can possibly become a canvas for personal expression. To live joyfully in this sense is to live, if possible, as the creator of one's own path rather than as a follower of prescribed routes. The individual can possibly become a radiant center of experience, drawing to themselves only what resonates and discarding what stifles. This joy is neither fragile nor fleeting, it is grounded in the enduring truth of self ownership. In declaring themselves free from the dominion of abstractions, the egoist does not withdraw from life but plunges into it more fully. The joy of living can be discovered not by escaping the world, but by claiming one's place within it, fearlessly, passionately, and entirely as oneself. Thank you for listening, everyone. All the best.